approach a real story like this, even if it's fictionalized, what are the aspects that you find key to bring to the screen?
Telling a real person's story, I felt a huge responsibility to get it right. And so that was based on, that started with a ton of research. We, read everything available. We studied, my writing partner and I studied her lawsuit, every interview available with her and with anyone else involved, all the articles at the time of, the rise of these apps and also around all this drama, all the legal drama. We really did all the research we could. And then from there, it's really about shaping it into a story. So, trying to be as accurate as you can. And sometimes that means specific facts. Sometimes that means more of the emotional truth to sort of create the narrative.
And even with the strong social critique that the film does, there's also a lot of humor in the movie. So how did you find the balance between bringing the comedy but also respecting the story?
I'm glad that the humor is traveling. That feels good. The idea is really that we're trying to follow Whitney's story tonally. And so for me, when Whitney is at the beginning, she's feeling optimistic and she's enthusiastic. And so, this journey is going to be fun for her. She's going to, jump into the tech world and check it out. And so the idea is to have the tone match what she's going through. So we can have jokes, we can have more energy, we can have some more comedy. And then as things start to turn for her and get darker, then you kind of see that comedy melt away as we're with her and darker. And then, as things start to get a little better for her after her lowest low, we have some jokes right there to let you know where she's getting. She's feeling more hopeful again. She's kind of coming out of the darkness, and so we're back into some comedy. So it's really it's about tracking her emotional state with the larger tone of the film.
And harassment and discrimination are told in a very literal way. So what was the biggest challenge to putting that on screen?
Once again, getting it right is sort of, I feel a lot of pressure to make sure I'm getting this right and sort of representing, as much as possible Whitney's story, but also just, my experience and the experience of so many people that I know. And so having yes, the big terrible things that happened to Whitney, but also sort of some of these smaller insidious things that make you almost question yourself, or was that bad? Was that not bad? What part am I being paranoid? I can't quite tell. Creating that sort of tension of not making it all black and white, but having it live in the gray area is part of what I wanted.
And something that I find interesting is that scrolling, matching, and the algorithms create kind of a narrative rhythm. So did you find any inspiration in that in the terms of editing or music?
That's such a cool way to talk about it. I mean, I think that the tech in general has sort of this manic energy to it, both both the immediacy on the phone, like you're pointing out, but then also the culture of the offices, the move fast and break stuff energy, and that pacing was a big part of the film. So a key word we used was propulsion, but again, bringing it back to Whitney, it's Whitney is a force of nature that's pushing us through this film. She's getting this job, she's growing Tinder, she's doing all these things. And then when things start to turn for her, she's being yanked through the film, almost against her will. She's ending up in court, she's ending up in all these places. And so that, yes, that momentum is certainly inherent to the storytelling.
If you could summarize the woman's struggle against men in general, could you pick one shot or one sequence that is representative?
I mean, so I think I just want to sort of say that I don't think that it's necessarily women's struggle against men. To me, it's really a culture that we've all created and sort of partake in, and so certainly the message of the film is not men are bad and women are good or something. It's there's a culture to be fixed together. And part of the reason that I wanted to make this film is because that exact thing I haven't seen before in this way, of women being sort of riding that line of being complicit, but then pushing back. But then, I feel like I had a pretty specific take on that. But a film that I think does sort of some of the Me Too stuff really beautifully is The Assistant. That's one that I think is done really well.
Okay, thank you very much, and good luck with the movie.
Thank you so much.